Sadly, YouTube annotations will be discontinued soon, so this sort of screen won't be possible anymore. Anyway, I contacted as many of the makers of these skins as I could. Click on the one you'd like to know more about. We'll start with the Negev Terrain by Derp. He got into it after reading Valve's Workbench guide and decided to give it a go. He started out with Team Fortress 2 and is still very proud of what he describes as his crummy Team Fortress 2 hat. He says that he's never happy with the names he chooses for his designs. This Negev, stupidly called Terrain, was one of his first for CSGO and features a topographical map filled with contours and heights. It's part of a series that he's made, described by him as an intricate yet subtle camouflage pattern. For its design, he looked at what was popular and did something different, steering clear of flashy colours and futuristic designs, whilst giving the neglected Negev weapon some love in the meantime. His later Terrain skins have gained a bit more colour and flair to them, as you can see from these MP7 and AUG designs. The Heaven Guard Mag 7 by UKR Scorpion was inspired by various anime series and took about 4 hours to make. This is because it wasn't the first of the series. He made an earlier dual Beretta design that took him a lot longer. He got into skin design because he was inspired by other people's entries on the forums and decided he wanted to see if he could do it himself. Much like Derp, he focused on making skins for less popular weapons. Getting his entry accepted changed his life, then later on he got a second Heaven Guard design accepted, this time for the XM1014. The Tec-9 Sandstorm is the second and final of this pattern by AUG to be accepted, though he has since had further successes with other skin designs. He says that he has got a lot of hate from these skins, being cheap and the most common skins that people unbox, but he says that if it wasn't his then it would only have been another skin of equal value anyway. Plus, at least with this skin it reminds them of an awesome song. There's an interesting story behind this skin's colours. He got them from an underwater picture of his daughter that he took whilst on holiday. Somewhat ironic that the Sandstorm's colours were captured in such a watery place, really. The UMP-45 Corporal by Caridium was developed shortly after his success with the Asimov design. He says how he likes to try and create something different from his previous works, and this is certainly that. Whereas the Asimov was futuristic and vivid, the UMP-45 Corporal has muted colours and a military theme which he thinks fits CSGO's aesthetic. He intended for these skins to be suitable for the lower skin grades. One thing that most people might not notice are the colours. Blue representing the Navy, green for the classic army, and tan for desert operations. This weapon is part of a collection of skins known as the Rank Collection, the other being the FAMAS Sergeant, also created by Caridium and is the second and final skin in his Rank collection. For this one he experimented with a new weapon finish, Patina. It gives him a lot more control over how the damage is shown, but the downside is that he can't decorate the weapon's magazine. Will we ever see other ranked skins? Maybe a private or a major? Caridium didn't rule it out, but did say that when you look back at your old designs, you only see the things you wish you had done better. So he generally tries to create new things rather than returning to older stuff. SG-553 Pulse by Thurnip is the second skin in the design, the first being the FAMAS, which I mentioned in my Winter Offensive video. As with before, the design is intended to look as though the weapon is shattering from a virtual place into reality. He likes this design because of the contrast between the intense purples and the black background. He has different colour finishes depending on the weapon type, with purple being for rifles, blue-green for pistols, and so on. The Mac 10 Heat was made by Dupe and was originally named Red Hot. It was one of the first things he made, indeed in the first month that the workshop was around, but by the time he had finished there were already hundreds of competing skins. He wanted to make a design based around the physical properties of the weapon itself, choosing Heat since he could recreate the effect in a convincing style without requiring any 3D trickery. He watched videos of molten steel cooling on YouTube and used these for the colour palette, though says he took many artistic liberties along the way during this skin's creation. At about the same time, Dupe also sent Gabe Newell a skin that spelled Gabe in musical notes, but sadly never heard back. The USP-S Guardian by Jack is the second of this design to be accepted, following the M4A1S in the winter case just a few months prior. While that skin was classified, this USP-S has been put in restricted and can be had for significantly less. It features the same colours, a custom suppressor with writing on it, and the CT emblem, though it's now seen on the top of the design, whereas with the M4 it was on the magazine case down below. The P90 Trigon isn't available in factory new, so every model will feature some degree of wear and tear. It is the third, and not even final skin from Caridium to be included in this case. However, it's found over on Facet's workshop page, since they approached him, along with several other skin designers, asking if he'd be interested in designing something to help them to fund bigger and better stream tournaments. He saw this as an exciting opportunity and it inspired the design of the skin, with the triangles representing the ladders and tables of the tournament, the varying heights representing different skill levels, with all players aspiring to reach the #1 spot. He says that this is a little more abstract than with his other projects, but that approaching it in this way really helped him to start it from scratch. And it worked too. Not only did this skin get accepted, but Faceit also going to make several more for them as well, including the MP7 progression with similar colours as the Trigon and a green USP called Equalizer, though neither of these have made it to the game just yet. The Nova Antique by Ancient is available in field tested to factory new condition and uses the custom paint job finish to help give it the look of woodstock and gold inlay. It was the very first skin that he submitted to the workshop, followed soon after by his Bison in the same style, which was also accepted later in the Huntsman case. Other than that, he's only made one more of this design, which is for the Desert Eagle, but has not yet been accepted. The AK-47 Redline by MK is his second and final accepted skin on the workshop, following his AUP Redline, which I covered in the Winter Offensive case. It was initially made in gold and black, but he later changed it to red to improve its chances of being accepted as a standard weapon, since gold is reserved for special skins. Its original name was Elegant Red, and has remained among the most popular items on the Steam market since its release. Perhaps someday, the blue line version will be accepted as well, as there was a lot of demand for it over on its workshop page. The AUG Chameleon, originally named Chameleon Air, is one of 4 accepted entries that Zafk has had for the game, though she has had even more success over on the Dota 2 workshop. This AUG is just one of 2 to be covert grade, the other being the more expensive Akihabara Accept, though that one isn't available in StatTrack. So I guess that makes this AUG kind of special. All of her accepted CSGO skins have been hand-drawn designs of various creatures. A special mention to OniLols, who is also mentioned as a joint creator on all of these skins. I covered the Octopump shotgun skin in the Winter Offensive case, and there are more to come in future ones. The AUP Asimov by Caridium needs no introduction. After watching his making of videos, I can now see how he angles a lot of the colours and designs in the same direction as each other. By doing so, he feels the design becomes more attached to the weapon. Could this be part of what made this design such a success? At the time, he says that there weren't many futuristic minimalist skin styles on the workshop, which he feels helped with the Asimov's success, which at first he didn't expect to be too popular. The colours were chosen as they were synonymous with sci-fi, a style that can be traced back to the likes of Sid Mead, who also has an accepted skin in CSGO. The name is in tribute to the popular sci-fi writer Isaac Asimov. Caridium says that today's media is full of fantastic sci-fi, but he hopes that his skin inspires people to check out some of the older literature. He really thinks it stood the test of time and has helped to shape today's media. He also mentions Philip K. Dick as another pioneer in the sci-fi genre. Thanks to his success on the workshop, Caridium says that he would love to make his own computer game, its development funded by the money he's earned from his skins. He is very grateful to Valve for giving outside artists a chance to contribute to their games. He feels like it's the next step in video game evolution and is very proud to be a part of it.